Guys Night Out presented by the Houston Chronicle. Wednesday, January 17th. Get 2 tickets, 2 hot dogs, 2 beers or sodas, and 2 t-shirts, all starting at only $52. Call 713-627-DOUG or log on to Rockets.com.
Beautiful cold night in Boulder, Colorado. You know, last year it was a very mild winter in Colorado. We are known up here for snow and skiing. This winter has lived up to its billing as Billy Gillespie brings the 8th-ranked Aggies to town. Billy in his 3rd year as the head coach of the Aggies. The turnaround has been remarkable. He took over a program that was 0-16 in Big 12 play a couple of years ago. Here's his starting 5. Law joined by the great defender Dominique Kirk in the backcourt, Josh Carter, along with Joseph Jones and Antanas Kavaliauskas in the middle. There's Ricardo Patton, his 11th season, and it will be his final year in Boulder. They are 0-2 so far in Big 12 play. They lost to Texas and on the road in Norman the other night. Coleman, Roby, Silas, and Williams in the starting lineup along with Marcus King Stockton. They have used 12 different lineups this year. The Aggies have used one lineup. In fact, the Aggies are the only school in the Big 12 that has started the same 5 every ball game this year.
Well, that indecisiveness can tell you something about Ricardo Patton's team this year, that when a coach is indecisive on who to start, that means no one's really stepped up and been head and shoulders above the rest of the ball club.
You got to say this, though, Coach Barry, about Colorado this year. Not a lot to show for their efforts. Good start there. Williams hits a 3. But they do play hard, and they always have under Coach Patton.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% on that. Coach Patton has done a lot of good things. You know, you hear a lot of the things that maybe he doesn't do so well. These kids play with tremendous intensity.
Well, how does Coach Gillespie make it 8 in a row and improve to 15-2? How do you seal the deal?
Well, offense sells tickets, defense wins ball games. We mentioned it in the open. They give up 30.2% field goal percentage, good for number 1 nationally. You got to hit free throws on the road. You know, he had a close game in Waco the other night, as we mentioned. You have to hit the freebies.
Williams a block on Kavaliauskas. Here's Coleman, the slasher. And he lost it momentarily. Roby gets a ball screen, has to give it up.
No surprise, Texas A&M opening in a man-to-man. And no surprise that, well, there is a surprise to see Josh Carter guarding Richard Roby, not Dominique Kirk, who is the outstanding defender. Carter can shoot it in and out on the 3, and the rebound of King Stockton. You know, King Stockton has taken a little bit of grief for not being the dominant post that every Big 12 coach would like to have, but you know, he doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, and he's got to get the touches as well.
Here's Silas, and that's the old force out. And so it'll be a foul on the Aggies' first call of the ball game. That'll go on Josh Carter. Well, how does Colorado seal the deal?
Well, when you have freshmen, they have to understand that every single possession counts. There's no possessions off. In high school there are. And Colorado has to have shot discipline. I know they like to shoot the outside shot. They like to put it up from 3, but there you go. You get the ball inside of Marcus King Stockton, you get your feet in the paint, those are high percentage shots, and that'll make King Stockton look pretty good if he gets the ball with his feet in the paint.
Yeah, the work came early, and then King Stockton on the high-low pass steals it 3-on-2, and a bad decision by Dominique Coleman.
Bad decision. He had Jeremy Williams out in front.
And out of bounds off the Aggies, Colorado with a 5-0 lead. They got blown out, talking about Colorado, a week ago on this floor against the University of Texas. But in the first half, it was basically an even-Steven game. They lost it in the second 20 minutes. That goes to what you were talking about in terms of consistency with young players, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And also, Drew, you live by the jump shot, you die by the jump shot. They hit the 3s in the first half. Second half, you know, and that was a little bit inconsistent. But I agree with you. They opened Big 12 play against a very good Texas team, playing like last year's veteran ball club.
Silas misses. Coleman has it. Coleman, wrong side of the glass, Dominique. It's very tough, Shield, to make a shot on that side of the glass.
Well, yeah, those are horse shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you can, you go unbeaten in horse.
Those are the ones in the driveway.
Right.
You're betting your best friend. You know, you're right underneath and say, I bet you, I'll hit that one.
Away from the ball, King Stockton on the screen. So that'll be the first on the junior from Colorado Academy in Denver.
And, in other games that we have done, Drew, I've talked about Colwall and Marcus King Stockton getting into the lineup. I think it's critical in Big 12 play that you have a big, strong body. King Stockton's already come up with big rebounds. He scored one in the paint. He can block out. He's got a big, strong body. You got to have him in there, particularly, when you've got a Kavaliauskas in there.
And Kavaliauskas is on the bench right now. Josh Carter hits the three. He's hitting 53% from downtown, which is 5th in the nation. 5-3 Colorado. Coleman checked by Law.
When you have a player like Josh Carter, you can afford to have a Dominique Kirk in there for defensive purposes only on the perimeter, and that's what he's in there for. That's what he's guarding Roby this possession, number 22.
Travel call before the shot. So Colorado turns it over. Marlon Pompey has come on for Kavaliauskas.
Drew, I noticed, I looked at the roster, they have 21 players on the roster. 19 of them are from Texas. Pompey is from Canada. Kavaliauskas from Lithuania. They recruit in the state of Texas and then out of the country.
And I believe it was Pompey who played a year of high school basketball in the state of Texas, so it's almost 20 out of 21. And it's the same thing in football, as you know, Seal. Texas A&M, even the University of Texas, you look up and down their roster, they don't leave the Lone Star State very frequently to recruit, and you don't have to.
No, you don't have to. And the thing is, the state of Texas, I recruited down there so often. Excellent, not only high school coaches, but junior high school coaches, middle school coaches, elementary school coaches. They have an athletic period where these players, their skills, that they're not just running up and down the court. The coaches are developing their skills. So the players are excellent in terms of their technique.
Williams goes glass. He's got 5 points in the early going.
Jeremy's come out strong. Yeah, you talked about inside, outside. Hits the long shot. I've been surprised. A&M's pretty quick to shoot the ball.
Which is not really like a Billy Gillespie team. Richard Roby looking at an official. He thought we should have been going to the line. Kirk may have gotten away with a walk. Jones ripped away from behind.
That was a great front coming from behind. Good effort by Richard Roby to stay in the play. The last man down the floor makes a difference there.
Colorado off early on their home floor against the 8th-ranked Aggies. They lead 7-3.
24 champions. One night. 12 fights. Saturday, January 20th, Austin, Texas. From the biggest name in combat sports, Chuck Norris. The WCL Championship. January 20th, Frank Irwin Center in Austin, Texas. Tickets at Texas Box Office or visit World Combat League.
Every Thursday and Saturday nights, it's the NHL on HDNet. Every city, a different star. Every game, a new hero. Every matchup, pure excitement. Pittsburgh, Crosby and Malkin. Nashville, Korea, Vancouver, Naslin, New York, Yager, Washington, Ovechkin, Dallas, Madonna, Colorado, Sakic, Atlanta, Kovalchuk. It's the world's top players all season. The NHL on HDNet.
Come test drive J.D. Power and Associates' most appealing midsize car at Varsity Ford and test your senses. Take the scenic route with up to 31 miles per gallon. Indulge your love for amazing sound with a 6-disc CD changer with MP3 capability. Accelerate the excitement with available 221 horsepower V6 engine. Demand to be noticed in a brand new 07 Ford Fusion for only $229 a month. Take action and visit the best price leader, Varsity Ford, on the bypass in College Station or online at varsityflm.com.
Colorado leading Texas A&M 7-3. Richard Roby, an impressive block a moment ago. I think Joseph Jones thought he was going to have a wide open jumper.
I think so too. You know, sometimes he's underestimated for his defensive ability, but he stays in the play, and that's the biggest maturity thing that I've seen out of Richard, is the fact that he plays both ends much more consistently his third year in college as opposed to his first year.
Let me correct that. It was actually Marlon Pompey who was throwing up the jumper. Little pressure in the backcourt. Cal Bay is picked up by Donald Sloan out on the floor for the first time. Here's Bay, a freshman out of Tempe.
I watched him practice a little bit last night, and one of the coaches says the one freshman that will get on the floor is Sloan, number 15.
I'd like to welcome all the students back.
They have a lot of high hopes for Donald Sloan.
Stockton again gets great position. He'll go to the line.
Looks as if Coach Patton has said, look, we're going to get that ball inside. We know we can shoot the ball outside. We haven't established an inside game, and it pleases me, because I know I harp on it quite a bit. It pleases me to see them get the ball into King Stockton.
I thought Oklahoma the other night, and you were working a women's game here, but in Norman the other night, Oklahoma's very small. They have only 2 players on the roster over 6'7", but they still were diligent about getting the ball to people on the block. And you know what? As you well know, you don't have to be 6'10" to post up. It's a matchup thing.
Well, you get to the free throw line. That's the thing. Why do you want to get the ball in the post? Number one, I used to tell my players, there's an official. There's a guy in stripes standing right underneath the basket, and they call that as tight as any part of the game. And number two, it's hard to guard somebody with their back to the basket unless they shoot a fadeaway.
Good point. Almost 5 minutes in, 8-3 Colorado. Kirk feeds Pompey down low. He has to give it up, and he turns it over. Here's Silas.
Well, again, King Stockton altered the shot. His guy couldn't get the ball. Pompey could not get the ball over King Stockton. You see a little height disadvantage for Pompey. He's probably 3 or 4 inches.
Colorado leads it 10-3. Sloan checked by Bay. Thorne on the floor for Colorado. Another one of those freshmen.
Setting up Josh Carter off the double screen.
And a rebound inside to Joseph Jones. He was fouled.
Carter came off that double screen, and he looked a little indecisive. He didn't come off and shoot the ball in his rhythm. He stopped, he hesitated, he pump faked, and a lot of times you want to get that ball up. So you see Pompey couldn't get the ball up over King Stockton. Silas was in exactly the right place. Xavier Silas picks it up on the weak side. Well, that was one of our little keys to victory there, Texas A&M. When you're down 10-3 on the road and you do get a shot to get to the foul line, you're not going to get as many opportunities on the road.
No, it's a Joseph Jones stroke, and that shot was way off from the line, which is a surprise because he has made, after that make, 46 of his last 50. That's great numbers for anybody. How about for a 6'9" player?
It really is. He's well over 87%. Leads the Big 12 in free throw percentage. Usually it's a point guard.
Here's Jamil Jackson Wilson. He goes up in a crowd, misses. Didn't get the start tonight. He broke his nose, suffered a mild concussion on Wednesday in the loss to Oklahoma by 24. Good high-low pass right there, and Kavaliauskas lays it up and in.
Well, you saw Joseph Jones look over at Billy Gillespie after he threw the ball into Kavaliauskas, and Gillespie said, yes, that's where I want the basketball, in the paint. That's where they're going against us.
Kavaliauskas from Lithuania. Here's Thorne.
The defense is picked up for A&M.
And a turnover. Good defense.
Well, you know who started? Sloan started that on Cal Bay. Cal Bay could not look inside, and Kirk gets the. See, that's right there is Texas A&M. That's their game. Force the turnover. The defense does not get back in transition. They leave it wide open, three-point shot. That's their ball game.
How many times in your coaching career did you state, find the shooter? They did not find Josh Carter. That's one guy you better get a hand in his face.
Well, you say, you say this over and over and over in practice. Sprint back, match up. Sprint back and match up. And you see a guy, this is shooting practice. This is target practice right here. Josh Carter, he's a designated three-point shooter, nothing but the bottom of the net.
He can stroke it, a sophomore from Dallas.
I mean, 3 starters in the starting lineup from Dallas. Do you think that's a good place to recruit from?
Doesn't matter what the sport. There's a whole lot of talent in Dallas and Houston. San Antonio's turned out a lot of very good basketball players as well.
They go up and down I-35. I've been up and down many, many times. And, you know, with the emergence of Texas A&M basketball, that just makes it that much harder for an out-of-state recruiter. You know, when Texas A&M is down, maybe an out-of-state team can come in and steal one out of, you know, that area. But when you have a program, Baylor's good, Texas Tech is good, Texas is good. You know, they've got so many choices right there in state.
And there's so much pressure, maybe more so in Texas than other states, as you well know, Coach, not to leave the state.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thorne for 3, almost an air ball.
He hit his first against OU. 1 for 16 against the 3. 1 for 16, I should say, shooting the 3, and that's not necessarily the shot that Ricardo Patton wants, because, you know, they're relying on a block shot, a desperation block shot at the last minute.
Marcus King Stockton back in the Buffalo lineup.
There's the block. Good job by Williams. He's been active early. Thorne and Jackson Wilson go out. Marcus King Stockton back on the floor. Coleman, Roby.
Back pick. There's a mismatch. Marcus King Stockton, it was a great setup. A screen, a guard screen King Stockton, and for a split second, Jones was wide open underneath the basket. This is a good matchup with King Stockton and Jones. You know, King Stockton hasn't played a whole lot of minutes in his career.
There's a good block on the help by King Stockton. Here's Coleman ahead of the field. Dominique, it's blocked. The follow up and in by Silas.
That was a tremendous follow-up by Xavier Silas. He was down the floor. A lot of times you'll see, particularly freshmen, just loafing down the floor, no follow-up. Oh, Dominique's going to put it in, not Silas. It was right there. Didn't even need to come back down to his feet.
Yeah, don't take anything for granted. Here's a 3 by Sloan. That rolls out. There's Jones again. He is a presence inside. Foul against Colorado.
This is a great pass by Roby up to Coleman. Coleman gets his shot blocked, but you see Xavier Silas following that shot so well.
Big foul there, Coach Barry. It's on Marcus King Stockton, who's been very effective in the early going of this game. It's his second.
He has been effective. He scored inside. He's had a couple of big rebounds, but it's his presence, his size, his wingspan that makes a difference. So, you know, you essentially go without a center when Texas A&M has 2 big guys.
Kirk rips the cords from downtown. And it's 12 all.
When you have a guy like Kirk who's not a double-figure scorer, you can't let him see. Great move.
Jamil Jackson Wilson, his first bucket. He came right back on the floor when King Stockton picks up his second.
Now look at this inside. Kavaliauskas is being guarded by a freshman, Jeremy Williams. That's a huge strength and size mismatch. And nobody, see, it takes 2 to guard Kavaliauskas. He's got to come rotate over and help, and Pompey's wide open on the boards. Nobody put a body on it.
Where's Acie Law been? There's a travel. We haven't seen much of him. Logan Lee has come on the floor for the first time. Sloan's been out there quite a bit. It is good early. 14 apiece, 11:37.
Buff fans, the Colorado women's basketball team is back at the Coors Event Center on Saturday, January 20th at 7 o'clock. Jackie McFarland, Jasmina Ilick, and the rest of the Buffs will look to stop National Player of the Year candidate Courtney Paris and the top 10 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Tickets for this exciting Big 12 contest can be purchased at cubuffs.com, 303-49 Buffs, or at Tickets West, located in all King Superstores. Colorado Buffaloes, your team.
Right now, over half our suits and sport coats are on sale, plus hundreds of pants, sweaters, shoes, shirts, and outerwear, 20 to 50% off. Now that's a sale. I guarantee it.
The Men's Warehouse Winter Sale.
Join host Dana Larson and Scout.com insiders for expert analysis and up-to-the-minute news on the collegiate destinations of the top high school players from the Southwest region. Inside Southwest Recruiting, powered by Scout.com on FSN Southwest.
Frankie. Frankie. Go! Yeah.
14-14, 8th-ranked Texas A&M in town. On Wednesday, those in the Rocky Mountain region can catch more Colorado men's basketball action as the Buffs will play host to the Iowa State Cyclones. That's Wednesday night at 7, only on FSN Rocky Mountain. Iowa State lost a thrilling ball game at home today in overtime to the University of Kansas.
Oh, they had a critical travel down the stretch under a minute with an opportunity to go up, but what a great effort by Greg McDermott's team.
A lot of good young coaches, a lot of new coaches in the Big 12.
Von Sutton. Yeah, I still consider Bill Self new. What was that, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Coach Williams been back east that long now, huh?
The Big 12 is changing, but, you know, new blood from the coaching staff. You bring a whole new set of recruiters in. Billy Gillespie's come in, made noise. Doc Stadler at Nebraska. Actually coached with Billy Gillespie at Utah. Look at that tight defense. They're not going to let Silas breathe. You know, a defense like this, Drew, it just wears the opponent down. Not just physically, it wears them down mentally because they can't get a good shot.
That was not a particularly good shot by Richard Roby, but it went down. His first bucket of the game. The average is better than 19.
No, he's got such great coordination. He likes the fadeaway. And Kavaliauskas, it could have gone either way. I thought Jeremy Williams did a nice job. Tried to draw it. Typically, you see your veteran players trying to, you know, draw the flopping a little bit, draw the foul. But I don't see Jeremy Williams winning that battle against Kavaliauskas, do you?
Kavaliauskas is a physical player, and this guy who's played a lot of basketball now in College Station. Senior from Lithuania, grew up admiring Arvydas Sabonis. Seems like Sabonis played till he was about 50.
Yeah. Well, typically, you have the European guys that could shoot the ball a little bit from outside. I know Kavaliauskas can shoot the outside shot. Great feed. Great feed on the inside. Unselfish basketball by Silas. Just no finish.
Sloan gives it up. Slashing to the basket is Carter.
I can see why they like the freshman Sloan. Not only is he a sticky defender, they're not afraid to put him on Silas, the Calvin Bay, but he's a great ball handler, all-around player. They're trying to make Silas go left. Keep him with the ball in his left hand.
Good move by Jackson Wilson.
No, Jackson Wilson, he's deceptive, isn't he? He's a power forward. I watch him game after game after game, and he gets by people. He's got a quick pump fake and, you know, quick first step.
He got hit early in that basketball game against Oklahoma in the nose, broke his nose. Understandably, wasn't the same player after that. Didn't play as many minutes as he normally does, but he's a guy, you know, that old statement that you say about some inside players where he plays bigger than he is. He's 6'6", he's wiry, but he plays like he's about 6'9".
Well, he's not afraid. He almost likes the physical game. And I think the fact that he has the ability to step out away from the basket and add a little finesse to his game, I really like his game. And he's got that personality, he's very consistent, doesn't bring a whole lot of attention to himself on the court. See, this matchup with Colwall, you've got a little bit more size, a lot more strength. Yeah, you want to find a place for Jeremy Williams to stay in the ball game, but with King Stockton in foul trouble, why not let Colwall beat him up? I'd like to see Colwall be a little more physical with him. You can see he hadn't even touched him inside. You got to bang him a little bit.
Well, they run the same play with the 4 and the 5. They flip spots on the high-low screen. On the high-low entry pass.
Here's what I think Gillespie is doing. He's already got King Stockton in foul trouble. Now he's working on Jermeel Jackson Wilson. So let's go at him. He's right at Jackson Wilson. Go at him. Great move.
They run nice patterns, don't they?
Yeah, those two post players, Kavaliauskas, number 30, Jones, those two work really well together.
And the timing on that was excellent. 18-18, Kowal harassed by Kavaliauskas. Now Roby He's being checked by Kirk. He's an outstanding defender.
You know, a guy like number 22, Kirk, he's been hearing for 3 days since the Baylor game's been over. His assignment is Roby. I watched him practice just a little bit. They didn't do a whole lot last night. They'd already practiced one time in College Station. Came back last night in the Coors Event Center, and I heard Roby's name about 20 times from Billy Gillespie on what they need to do to stop Richard Roby.
2 to shoot it. Roby fades, and there's Acie Law back on the floor for the first time in a while.
Great help defense.
3-on-2, great feed. Silas, contact, and he'll go to the line.
Been impressed with Roby. Dominique Coleman, both the senior and the junior, passing off quite a bit, trying to get good shots. We talked about shot selection in the open.
I have to be honest with you, this stretch over the last 11 minutes since the start of this ball game, maybe the best basketball Colorado's played all year.
Yeah, I mean, you see a great bounce pass. They're playing unselfish basketball. I tell you what, you know, non-conference schedules, and you can't underestimate the fact that TCU did not make their trip, that UC Davis did not make the trip. So the Buffaloes were a little short-handed in terms of non-conference games. They go on the road. They played Texas, and they played Oklahoma. So, you know, they've decided, are we going to play in the Big 12, or are we going to watch the rest of the teams play and just show up?
Silas with 5. Averaging a dozen a game over his last 6 all-starts for the freshman.
You know, there's so much pressure on Coleman and Roby to be consistent. If they're consistent, then you can expect consistency from Silas, from Jeremy Williams, from Sean Kowal. If the veteran players aren't consistent, you're not going to get that consistency from the freshmen. Not too often. We got Dwight Thorne. Dwight's from Dallas area, so he's probably played against a little AAU ball against him. Aren't you impressed with the defense?
Defense been great, and Acie Law has been off, to be honest with you. He's picked up a couple early fouls, and he's turned it over a couple of times as well.
Well, I'm wondering, you know, you signed against Baylor. Against Baylor, kind of, you know, thumping his chest, pretty pleased with himself. Well, you got to come back the next day. You got to come back the next day and get ready for Colorado.
Jones from the elbow. Coleman grabs the loose basketball. Good feed.
Great pass.
Great feed to Roby.
Pass. Those two, yeah, they just have an instinct. Roby and Coleman. I haven't seen two guys on the perimeter who enjoy playing together as much as those two. I'm impressed with Ricardo's patent speed. They don't look intimidated to me.
Not at all. Carter's runner is off. Coleman has it again. Pushing the tempo. 4 on 3. This is where Coleman's at his best. Wide open jumper for Thorne. He's got the 3.
Well, you don't see that very often. It's good to see Dwight Thorne, I think, hitting his first 3 at OU. He missed one about 5 minutes ago, but he was wide open, had his feet set, took his time.
Now just 2 for 21, but he picked a nice time. Colorado's opened up a 7-point lead on the 8th-ranked Aggies.
Well, I tell you what, I think Texas A&M has played just a little bit into the Buffalo's hands with their tempo, don't you?
I would concur. Colorado playing well, sharing the basketball. They're up 7.
This is Ford country. And just like our vehicles are #1 in Texas, Texans are #1 with us. And from football games to rodeos, horse races to state fairs, we're proud to be affiliated with organizations that make life here a heck of a lot of fun. And right now, you can save a heck of a lot of money on a 2007 F-150 Texas Edition Super Cab with payments starting from only $249 a month. Ford is the best in Texas.
Hello, everyone. I'm Selena Ray, inviting you to the NHL All-Star Race and Roll. The 2007 NHL All-Star Week, the Dallas Stars want you to walk, run, or roll through the streets of Dallas. Saturday, January 20th marks the first NHL All-Star Race and Roll. It's a 5K run or walk and a 10K inline skate. Show the All-Stars your moves while helping out the Dallas Stars Foundation. Visit DallasStars.com to register for the NHL All-Star Race and Roll.
College football fans, here's your chance to be a part of the BCS.
Go online to get the official merchandise from the Rose Bowl game presented by Citi, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, the Allstate Sugar Bowl, and the Tostitos BCS National Championship. Own a part of college football history. Go to bcsfootball.org and order today.
Texas A&M trailing on the road against the University of Colorado by 7. Here's Dominique Coleman coaching the open floor.
Well, you see Dominique come down, and this defender chooses to come over here, and it takes 2 to stop Coleman. And guess who's wide open? Because we just talked about transition defense. You got to get back, and you got to get matched up. 2 of them go to the ball. Nobody goes to Roby. Layup.
And again, that is where Coleman is at his very best. He's very athletic. He's very fast.
And
in transition.
He sees so well. You know, a lot of people are fast and they can dribble, but they don't see. And you can't see it a split second too late. You have to see it a split second earlier than everyone else.
Antanas Kavaliauskas at the line, averaging 12 a game and 6 rebounds.
But you know what? I must have jinxed him when I talked about free throws. But this is what I'm talking about. You're down 7. You don't get to the line that often.
We got the second. It's a 6-point game. Thorne checked by Law.
Almost a little over and back right there by Dwight Thorne. It looks as if Acie Law came out, wasn't playing as hard defensively. He's picked it up a little bit. So let's see if they slow the tempo down, going a little bit more into their patterns. Jermil Jackson, Wilson in there, going inside. Kowal sunk down from high post as opposed to the weak side and picked up the foul.
That was number 41, Sean Kowal, personal foul number 1. That is the 17th foul, team foul number 7.
Pompey comes back. Kavaliauskas goes out. Jones will be at the line. Jones averages 13 and a half. He has just 1 point in the game. Tremendous free throw shooter, the junior from Normandy, Texas, which is a small town. About 750 people, 30 miles from College Station.
How'd you like to have a player like that 30 miles away from your campus? I bet you they were sitting at his doorstep when he was a 6th grader.
Well, there's a great football player, and there's plenty of these stories in the state of Texas, but Leonard Davis is an All-American at the University of Texas, and a lineman with the Arizona Cardinals, is from East Texas town of Wortham. And that's a small school. And he was enormous, 6'7", about 360 pounds, playing against little guys.
No matchup in transition. Carter wide open. Acie Law made Acie Law gets the ball down the floor. Oh, that last possession when we were talking, Kowal has a good shot on the inside. He uses the glass, but he rushes it a little bit. You know, the defensive end. Oh, boy, I think Dominique Kirk got away with a foul there.
That's about the 2nd or 3rd time. You see a perplexed look on the face of Richard Roby as if to say, how am I going to get a call?
He might have pump faked. Pump faked and gone around him instead of shooting it over the top of him. But I thought Kirk maybe have gotten a piece. And, you know, really, if he pump fakes, he'd go up and into him instead of shooting the fadeaway from 21 feet out. We have King Stockton back in with 2 fouls.
Colwell has 2, so Coach Patton with 6:29 left makes that change. Jones spins in another free throw. I meant to ask you, Steele, has Josh Carter hit the rim yet on a shot?
Yeah, you know, string music, as they say. You know what? Here's what I think Gillespie's doing: wearing them down on the defensive end of the floor. On the offensive end of the floor, going inside, with Kowal and King Stockton, 4 fouls between the 2 of them. You know, and then second half, he can do what he wants on the inside. How many times has Jones been to the free throw line? This is 6th free throw in 14 minutes. That tells you where they're getting the basketball.
Well, that 7-point deficit wiped out by the Aggies. It's their first lead of the night. Let's see how Colorado responds. Williams, too quick with the shot. And the rebound grab by Jones.
A little change up in the defense that time. A little trap on Calvin Bay.
Here's Law. He got in way too deep. Stockton rips the rebound away from Pompey.
Looks like King Stockton will be going to the free throw line, you know, and I'm sure there was a collective sigh of relief on the Buffalo bench that would not be called on King Stockton for his third.
Foul number 8 for Texas A&M.
18 fouls apiece. Maybe the Aggies have gotten the wake-up call. This is where Colorado honestly has not responded well this year. They've put a very good 13 minutes together in this game.
They really have.
In the 14th minute, obviously the game has been evened up. Now, how did they finish the first half? On the road in Norman the other day, it was a very close game in the final 2 minutes, and they ended up being down by 9 at halftime.
I see two mistakes. They double-teamed Cal Bay the last time down. They didn't get a great shot, and then you can't miss the free throw. When they make a run like that, a 7-0 run, clearly they're going inside. You got to hit your free throws. I mean, you can't underestimate how important the easy shots are, particularly on your home court.
Williams, Silas, Roby, Bay, and Marcus King Stockton on the floor for Colorado. Kirk and Law, Pompey, Jones, and it's Jones who will get the and one.
It takes two people to guard on the inside. When Pompey gets the ball, there's a rotation over, and nobody picks up Jones. See, you got one player guard. Your second player rotates over. Jeremy Williams rotates over. Well, who's picking up Jones? So here's Jones up at the free throw line for his 7th time tonight.
And it's knocked out by Pompey. You always talk about the little things. That's a big play there by Pompey. Bonus possession for the Aggies.
Right. It could turn into a 5-point play. Could be a 6-point play.
Jones is taken over in the paint.
He really, really has. And that's where you talk about, you know, when you rotate a player over to double team an inside player, you've got to pick up, you know, here there is no rotation.
That's the third on King Stockton.
Yeah, he's out of position and tries to make up a little bit too little too late.
Joseph Jones with 10 points in the game.
Well, it's a moment of truth right here. You have a freshman point guard, but you've got a freshman defender. Donald Sloan from Dallas guarding Cal Bay. It's a moment of truth for the Buffaloes right here. They need some good patience. They don't have a true center on the floor. Got two freshmen on the floor. What are they running? They're a little confused. There's plenty of time on the shot clock.
They've got to get into something now.
The defense absolutely has them stymied.
4 to shoot it. Gaston Wilson actually got a pretty good look from the free throw line. He left it short. Here come the Aggies.
Seemed to be confusion on what exactly they were running that possession down the floor. It was a big possession.
Aggies in the midst of a 13-0 blitz. Here's Jones. He has taken over the game. Timeout coming from Colorado. They need one in the worst way.
Absolutely.
Colorado, 30-second timeout.
Joseph Jones and Texas A&M, a 15-0 run. We were bragging on Colorado. They were up 7. Now they trail by 8.
And Joseph Jones has taken over, as you've mentioned, inside. They are so sticky. You know, there's not a whole lot to say. They switch right here. They don't give Xavier Silas an opportunity. They're going to give Jermail Jackson-Wilson that shot. And all over Texas A&M, a lot of maroon jerseys on the defensive board.
Jones owns 11 of the 15 points in the 15-0 run. Now, Texas A&M has been outscoring the opposition by 24 points a game. That's second in the nation.
You know, I looked at those stats and I thought, now, you know, their non-conference schedule, other than UCLA, wasn't that tough. And I can't remember.
They played LSU.
LSU, was that who they played at the Wooden Classic?
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm talking 37 points a game. But you can see they're right there. They can reach out and touch the jersey of their opponent.
Here's a 3-ball, and Kowal had it go off his hand on the rebound. It'll be Aggie basketball.
Pompey may have gotten away with a little bit of push, but not enough contact to warrant the foul.
How many times you see this? When one team is playing with great momentum, they get the calls also.
Right.
It's almost like the officials get caught up. Here's Sloan. He carried it.
He carried it. Billy Gillespie has gone with Donald Sloan at point. I would say at least 50% of this half, wouldn't you say?
Well, Law got in the early foul trouble, and I also think maybe a message being sent by Billy Gillespie. His team came out flat.
Maybe so, and then Donald Sloan has come out and he's picked up the opposing point guard. He really put some pressure on the other team's perimeters. A little mismatch here.
Colorado's missed their last 8 shots, and now a foul on the Aggies.
Now, we talked a little bit in the open about Aggie football. Martellus Bennett at tight end. Number 2 on the Aggie football team out for his first minute. Just joined the team.
8-point Aggie lead.
The Colorado Buffaloes continue Big 12 Conference play at the Coors Event Center against the Iowa State Cyclones Wednesday, January 17th at 7 o'clock. Wear your best beach-themed outfit and you could win $75 from Island's Fine Burgers and Drinks. Tickets for this exciting Big 12 Conference game can be purchased at $303.49 Buffs, CUBuffs.com, or at King Soopers. Colorado Buffaloes, your team.
I looked at 4 schools.
5 schools. Small schools.
East Coast.
West Coast. Ivy League.
Performing arts.
But I found myself.
Found myself.
Found myself at Baylor.
I found small classes.
World-class facilities.
And a community of faith.
Where 14,000 students from all 50 states
and 70 countries make friends.
Get involved
and make a difference.
What about you? What will you find?
More than 20,000 cars and trucks online. Actual prices and multiple photos. Nationwide transfers.
This is the car that I found. Is it really that car?
Yes. Easy. CarMax. The way car buying should be.
The Aggies 8th ranked in the country. This is how much of a football school Texas A&M has been over the years. Basketball, their program has been ranked in the top 10 in the nation 3 times in the last 47 years. This year, 1979 briefly, and then all the way back in 1959 for a few weeks.
Well, as we've mentioned, Billy Gillespie has done a phenomenal job, not just in coaching the basketball team, but in changing the attitude about the program. And frankly, something that I think people in Boulder, Denver area are looking for with the coaching change next year.
Here's the wonderful thing about basketball, as you well know. Only 5 guys play at once. It's not like football where legitimately to turn around a program may take 4 or 5 years. The Aggies, it bears repeating, 0-16 3 years ago. Billy Gillespie comes on. They win 20-plus that first year. They go 8-8 in the conference. Last year, they win 10 in the conference. Beat Syracuse in the opening round. Should have gone to the Sweet 16. They got beat a half-court three-pointer, basically. Otherwise, they go to the Sweet 16 last year in the NCAAs.
It just shows you how important one person, just one person, the head coach, but that's a critical role on the team. But this game's not over.
No, Acie Law with his first bucket of the ball game. Coleman gives it up. Inside 3.5 to play.
What Texas A&M has done is really taken Colorado out of their offense. You don't see any semblance of rhythm in their offense. They're rushed on it. The screen being set. And, really what Texas A&M is doing is dictating everything on the defensive end of the floor. There is no control by the offensive guards.
Well, since the last meeting in the regular season, Texas A&M has been on a roll.
Yeah, I don't think Texas A&M has lost a conference game since they beat Colorado a year ago down in College Station. And, you know, you get a 30-second shot clock violation, 30 violation, great effort. You know, you read their media guide, a lot of what Gillespie brings to the team is toughness.
I'll tell you what, speaking of toughness, speaking of defense, the guy who's inbounding the basketball right now, it's like he's wearing the same uniform as Richard Roby. I mean, he has been all over Roby.
Oh, and that's his role. You know, you see a guy in there, and he has started every game since Gillespie has been at Texas A&M. And that's Dominique Coleman, who just scored on the back door number 22. But he's not in there to score. He's in there to defend number 23, Richard Roby.
It's like the fullback. Throw him a bone every once in a while. And they just did. Here's Roby coming free. Nice move by Richard Roby.
I think Richard Roby did a nice job off the ball.
That's good.
Foul is on Kirk.
You'll see Richard Roby, he starts on the right side of the floor, he's on the right wing, and then he comes back to the left side of the floor. Sean Colwell is there essentially as a screener. And Roby with his, he's got long arms, he's 6'6", and he can get up and over Kirk a little bit. It's going to be critical. We always talk about the last 2.5 minutes of the half. Right now, it's money time for Colorado. Make a decision. Where are we going? It's 37-30 right now. Colorado's got to dig in and give A&M a little bit of their own medicine. You see them a little bit, arms are down at their side. They've got to dig in and get up and play defense on Acie Law, play defense on Sloan, and particularly on Jones in the same way. A&M in a 1-4 high offense.
Off the dribble, 6 straight shots made now. After that, 15-footer by Law. 39-30.
Too easy. It was too easy for Acie Law off pretty much the second pass of the offense to take it to the bucket, going right.
Thorne gets a ball screen, cut off by Pompey. Somebody's got to be open on the weak side. It was Coleman. They could never get him the basketball.
Well, it's hard to get the basketball to the open guy if you're dribbling. And you see a lot of dribbling in the offense, and that plays right into the hands of the defense. If you move the ball with a pass, it's a lot tougher for the defense to guard that. You know, now, what Texas A&M, you know, you see their big guys, they're a little tired, the altitude's getting to them, but Texas A&M is dictating the entire tempo. You see a double screen for Sloan right there, pump fake, penetrate and pitch. It's just like you draw it up.
Boy, the Aggies have heated up.
Well,
Kirk with a three-pointer. It's a 12-point Aggie lead.
Boy, the change in momentum in the last 10 minutes has been unbelievable. A lot of that has been a team effort.
Aggies now shooting 52% from the floor.
Watch a pump fake, penetrate, draw another defender, and a wide open three by the defensive specialist on the floor, Dominique Coleman. That's great basketball, and that's why they're number 8 in the nation. And they can execute that. It really doesn't matter if it's on the road, neutral, or at home. It really doesn't matter. If you know your patterns and you know what your role is, you will be able to execute.
Some of their defensive numbers are really startling. There's not a team they've played this year that has scored more than 65 points against Billy Gillespie's club.
I think they're the only team in the country at this point on January 13th who has not given up more than 65. That's phenomenal.
That's true. That's
unbelievable. Okay, we've got another point guard in here. Dwight Thorne's playing the point. We've seen Calpe. We've seen Coleman.
Logan Lee checking him. Here's Roby with the ball.
Waits for an on-ball screen. There's a switch there. Now you got a big guy, Pompey, guarding Roby. He ought to be able to go around him, and he does.
He did, but he lost the basketball.
Good collapsing by the maroon jerseys. They collapsed on the inside. He didn't have any place to go. Maybe one dribble too many.
7th turnover on Colorado. 24-5 run since the 8-minute mark for the Aggies. That's their first miss. They had made 7 in a row.
You know why he missed? He's had one practice since he got back from the football team. Martellus Bennett, 6'7",
250 pound, yeah. He was a freshman All-American 2 years ago. He's one of the top tight ends in the country.
Well, he's a better receiver than he is shooter, I guess. He needs a little more time on the hardwood, but that's a credit to him. I'm teasing a little bit. That's a credit to him that he gets in the ball game. And this is their third Big 12 game, and he joins the team midway through the year.
I remember when he was being recruited in football, he was actually rated by several publications as the #1 football recruit in the state of Texas. Which says a couple of things. One, if you're #1 in Texas, you're awfully good. Number two, congratulations to Coach Franchione and also to Coach Gillespie, because usually the #1 recruit over the last decade or so, since Mac Brown has been in Austin, he goes to Texas.
Well, those players down there have some choices, because I tell you what, the facilities at A&M are off the charts, as they are, and of course, Texas, the Longhorns own the state in so many of the sports. But you know, these coaches do such a great job recruiting. They spend so much time developing relationships with people like Martellus Bennett.
Sloan gives it up. Kirk with it. 18 on the shot clock. 1 minute to play in the first half.
Oh, a great effort by Coleman to pick it off.
And he caused a turnover.
It's a big possession here to get it underneath 10. Great pass.
Great feed, and the shot was missed by Coleman. Jackson Wilson found Coleman. And Dominique was fouled.
Well, and Colorado has the speed. They have the quickness to force those turnovers. They get up, they get in their grill a little bit. You see Coleman, he gets the deflection on the freshman Sloan. Colwell gets the steal. They throw it up the floor. Dwight Thorne over to Jermiel Jackson. Great pass on the inside. It's important that they convert these, because he missed the layup. You got to get them. You got to earn them.
First point of the ball game for Dominique, averaging just under 11 a game. Splashes that one through.
Now here's a big defensive possession. You cut it to under 8. You got a little bit of momentum going into the locker room. Now I'd like to see Colorado really dig in, maybe even get one more steal. Big shot before the half.
Aggies will work clock. 14-second differential. Lee, the lefty. Off with the shot. Coleman has it.
Boy, Coleman could get up for a guard. You see Thorne wide open over there in the corner. Coleman takes it himself. 2 big plays by Coleman in the last minute.
You know, Coleman glanced very quickly at Coach Patton and said, "You want to hold for one?" He said, "Go."
Yeah, and that's a good decision, because he's so fast. Who gets the ball off the glass and down the floor the other end any faster than Dominique Coleman?
3 from Kirk, too long. Colorado will not have time to get one up. So Colorado, in a game that seesawed in the final 8 minutes, closes strong in the final minute. It's a 6-point game at halftime. The 8th-ranked Texas Aggies, 42. The University of Colorado, 36. We'll return to the Coors Event Center in Boulder for first half numbers and stats in a few moments. For right now, let's take you to Keith Flyer, who's manning the Chevy Sports Deck. Keith.
Mr. Goodman, thank you very much. Yeah, it took a while to awaken the Aggies, but a 15-0 run by Texas A&M has A&M up on top of the Colorado Buffaloes by 6 at the break. Coming up from the Chevy Sports Desk, we've got a number of highlights for you, including a thriller up north in Wyoming. Could the Cowboys knock off Air Force? Wait till you see the finish.
How can it be offensive if it's true?
Okay, first of all, I'm not 100% in love with your tone right now.
Tone aside, historically, you guys have struggled to adapt.
Yeah, right. Walking upright, discovering fire, inventing the wheel, laying the foundation for all mankind. You're right. Good point. Sorry we couldn't get that to you sooner.
Connie, your reaction?
Sounds like someone woke up on the wrong side of the rock.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Come to C&D Scrap Metal. Y'all don't have like big boards like Johnny Carson had or something I can read?
Houston, noise.
Gotcha. We still sell. Oh yeah.
We still sell our metal that.
I don't like this. I don't like it.
And remember, Houston.
We're gonna take it to our room.
Call us.
713.
Come test drive J.D. Power and Associates' most appealing midsize car at Varsity Ford and test your senses. Take the scenic route with up to 31 miles per gallon. Indulge your love for amazing sound with a 6-disc CD changer with MP3 capability. Accelerate the excitement with available 221 horsepower V6 engine. Demand to be noticed in a brand new 07 Ford Fusion for only $229 a month. Take action and visit the best price leader, Varsity Ford, on the Bypass and College Station or online at varsityflm.com.
If you love the lullabies of old Broadway, then you're in good company. The Theater Company. The Theater Company presents Broadway's Best, featuring classics old and new from shows like My Fair Lady, Oklahoma, Guys and Dolls, Evita, Chicago, and many more. Don't miss Broadway's Best, January 12th through 14th. Tickets just $15 each, on sale at the Arts Council and at the Theater Company. Call 779-1302 for more information. Get your tickets now for Broadway's Best.
Southwest.
In each of the last 4 seasons, the Buffaloes have knocked off a nationally ranked opponent in Boulder. Will they extend the streak tonight? They're down to the Aggies 42-36 at the break. Hi, everybody. Keith Blyer at the Chevy Sports Desk. So the Aggies proving that they are worthy of that number 8 national ranking. All right, the class of the Mountain West Conference this season has to be the nationally ranked Air Force Falcons. We got some good highlights. You ready for this? Roll it, baby. Air Force at Wyoming, 52-51 Wyoming. Matt McCraw drills the 3, and then on the next possession for Jeff Zdelik's Falcons, Willele backdoor dunk. Air Force leading 56-52. But we're tied at 56 with 1.2 seconds remaining. Willele inbounds. Birchie gets open. Winner! Air Force does it again. 58-56, the final. Another thriller out there in Los Angeles. UCLA and USC. Darren Collison misses the 3. Lorenzo Mata with the rebound and the putback for the Bruins. They are up 6. Next possession would be USC at the other end of the floor. Gabe Pruitt. Nice screen. 3. All right, after a pair of missed free throws by UCLA, Nick Young gets it down 3. 3-pointer and 1. A 4-point play. They lead by a point. So the last chance for the Bruins. No way. Aaron Aflalo. No. What? UCLA devastates USC 65-64. And there is more from the Chevy Sports Desk. How about the man-child, Greg Oden of OSU?
Buff fans, the Colorado women's basketball team is back at the Coors Event Center on Saturday, January 20th at 7 o'clock. Jackie McFarland, Jasmina Illick, and the rest of the Buffs will look to stop National Player of the Year candidate Courtney Paris and the top 10 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Tickets for this exciting Big 12 contest can be purchased at cubuff.com, 303-49-Buffs, or at Tickets West, located in all King Superstores. Colorado Buffaloes, your team.
Right now, over half our suits and sport coats are on sale, plus hundreds of pants, sweaters, shoes, shirts, and outerwear, 20 to 50% off. Now that's a sale. I guarantee it.
The Men's Warehouse Winter Sale.
You may not realize it, but there's a source of renewable energy right in your neighborhood, and you're helping to power it. Today, Waste Management is using the resources at our disposal to create energy from waste. Enough green energy to power over 1 million homes. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
The best in the Big 12 Conference is on Big 12 Showcase. On location, Showcase has highlights, exclusive features, and interviews, and the latest from every sport in the Big 12. Big 12 Showcase, Fridays and Saturdays on FSN Southwest.
Next.
The Buffaloes right back on FSN Rocky Mountain on Wednesday. They will host the Cyclones of Iowa State at 7 p.m. Keith Blyer back at the Chevy Sports Desk. Before Iowa State comes to Boulder to take on the Buffaloes, they must try to beat the a team that's very good year in and year out, the Kansas Jayhawks. This one taking place in Ames. Mike Taylor gets by the defender with the sweet spin, and very nice finish. Cyclones take a 3-point lead. Under a minute left. Jayhawks are still down by 3. Mario Chalmers kicks it out to Brandon Rush. Was he wide open or what? Kansas forces overtime in the OT. Tied at 63. Rush, the pilfer, and the baskets. Kansas wins barely 68-64. Tennessee and the Ohio State University in a non-conference contest. Greg Oden, he's a teenager. Looks like he's 40. Game high 24, 15 rebounds. Ohio State up 3. Ron Lewis from behind the arc. Ohio State up 2. Late in the game off the inbounds. Ramar Smith misses the layup. Rebound, no. Buckeyes beat the Volunteers 68-64.
8-0-0 phone. Mike Jones about to blow.
Mike Jones, which the pass to James Gist. Sorry. Clemson at Maryland. Terps up 4. Later in the first, Clemson down 2. Cliff Hammonds with the steal to K.C. Rivers. Great basketball name. How you doing? I'm K.C. Rivers. I'm going to hit the 3. Second half, Terps looking to pull off the upset. Kenny Abekwe, the one-handed jam. And your final score is 92-87. Maryland beats Clemson. Texas A&M beating the Buffaloes 42-36 at Coors Event Center. But Colorado hanging in against the top 10.
Gonna take you for a ride on a hot Texas night. Get ready. Loving your Ford keeps you coming back for more. So steady.
Texans love Ford Mustang. Motor Trend calls it a perfect 10. Call it yours for only $299 a month. Or Ford Fusion, J.D. Power & Associates' most appealing midsize car, now only $249 a month. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and you'll see why.
Ford is the best in Texas.
Friendly people.
All right.
Welcome to Climax.
Thank you very much.
Stress-free shopping.
We never sell a car with blood or brain.
Guaranteed quality. The used cars you want. One stop. CarMax. The way car buying.
Tell me you don't love me.
I don't love you.
Liar.
I got to ask you how you came up with that sound. Steady like a train, sharp like a razor.
We're all going to hell for the songs we sang.
Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire.
If you love the lullabies of old Broadway, then you're in good company. The Theater Company. The Theater Company presents Broadway's Best, featuring classics old and new from shows like My Fair Lady, Oklahoma, Guys and Dolls, Evita, Chicago, and many more. Don't miss Broadway's Best, January 12th through 14th. Tickets just $15 each, on sale at the Arts Council and at the Theater Company. Call 779-1302 for more information. Get your tickets now for Broadway's Best.
And now we go from the CSD to the CEC, from the Chevy Sports Desk to the Coors Event Center for the second half. Drew Goodman and Seal Barry. Guys?
All right, Keith, thanks very much. Interesting first half. I honestly thought the first 12 minutes of the game, that was the best Colorado's played all year. And then in the final, 6 or 7 minutes, with the exception maybe of the last few moments, you saw why the Aggies are the 8th-ranked team in the country.
Right, for Colorado, you could tell they love playing in the Coors Events and Conference Center. They're so much more comfortable here. But when you're playing the number 8-ranked team in the nation, it's got to be 20 complete minutes. It can't be 12 good ones, let's take 5 off, and then let's come back and play 2 more.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the numbers in the first half. Colorado shot it well early, and then the Aggies at one point made 7 straight shots, and they shot it well from downtown, which they've done all year.
They have, and the surprise is Dominique Kirk, who really lit it up. He's not really their designated three-point shooter, but Joseph Jones, when you have both feet in the paint, number 30, he's not going to miss a lot of those chip shots.
Again, Colorado early. Not only did they hit shots, I thought they were very unselfish, Seal.
They were. And we mentioned Dominique Coleman and there Richard Roby with his patented fadeaway shot, but I thought they really moved the ball well. And A&M, really, I think they were a bit surprised by how quick Colorado is. Coleman's quick.
Leading scorers, Roby with 9. Joseph Jones took over the game during that great run for the Aggies. He has a dozen. Josh Carter, some threes early in the game. He has 11.
And who's noticeably missing from there is Acie Law, the fourth. But when you have your teammates picking it up, you're going to have some. There's Joseph Jones using the glass so well. Jeremy Williams picking up a foul on that again. Jones, this time taking a baseline again, using the glass. Boy, he's a tough player. Again, drop step on the inside. He's got a variety of moves.
Well, the glowing record belongs to the Texas Aggies. Colorado is below 500, but we have ourselves a basketball game here at intermission. 6 points separate Texas A&M and Colorado. We're back to Boulder with the second 20 minutes right after this.
Are our SUVs as much fun as our bikes?
You think you can handle it?
Can you? Introducing the all-new Suzuki XL7 midsize crossover SUV. It's going to be a great ride. Get 0% financing on XL7 with no payments till April 07. Offer ends January 31st.
Whether you're a casual rider or a hardcore biker, Geico Motorcycle Insurance has you covered. No wonder thousands of riders are switching to Geico each week. Geico. One call could save you money on your motorcycle insurance, too. Let's ride.
Avocor announces, we're putting our money where your hair isn't. Order right now and get an extra free month supply. We're doing it because Avocor's formula is FDA approved to regrow hair in as little as 2 months. And that means more before and Avocor.
Avocor has certainly improved my confidence. My love life is improving as well.
Before and Avocor.
I tried it for a couple months and boom, I was blown away.
Before and Avocor.
Well, most of the time I was wearing hats because I didn't want anybody to know the difference, and most people wouldn't say anything. But now with Avocor, no hats.
And for a limited time, just for trying Avocor, you'll receive a free Avocor boost to instantly thicken your hair. We're putting our money where your hair isn't. Order right now and get an extra free month supply. And for a limited time, get a free Avocor boost while supplies last.
Call 1-800-284-3850. 1-800-284-3850.
The best in the Big 12 Conference is on Big 12 Showcase. On location, Showcase has highlights, exclusive features, and interviews. And the latest from every sport in the Big 12. Big 12 Showcase. Fridays and Saturdays on FSN Southwest.
Oh, where Southwest stands out first. FSN Southwest.
Back in Boulder, that statue honoring Frank Shorter. Does Frank go out on a day like this when it's about 3 below and run?
Frank goes out whether it's 99 degrees in July or whether it's -2 in January. He doesn't miss a run.
There you go. So Frank got it in today. 42-36, the Aggies. By the way, the only 2 losses to the Aggies, we mentioned earlier, LSU in Baton Rouge. No shame in that. And in Anaheim against UCLA, #1 in the country at the time.
And those were close ball
Very
games
close
as well.
games.
Right. I mean, when you play a non-conference schedule that's not too challenging, part of it is you say, well, let's just wait around till January because the Big 12 will give us all the competition we need. Let's get some confidence here.
And Coach Gillespie, last year in the tournament, beat Syracuse in the opening round. He took them to the NIT his first year. after winning 20-plus. It's going to be an interesting race this year in the Big 12.
Well, it will be. I think Texas A&M wants to have something to say about it with Texas, with some of their young players. I'll tell you what, Billy Gillespie is not used to opponents scoring 36 points in 20 minutes. I'm sure they had a conversation about their defense, and they come out and they've gotten after it.
Hasn't happened this year. Colorado, as Roby traveled, Colorado's 36 points, the most against an Aggie team this year in the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, they have not, and I'm sure he said, this is about your pride defensively. You have not let one team score 65 points against you. Now, is that going to happen today? Or are we going to get out and play in the second half?
They clamp down on that opening possession there. Here's Carter with a step, leans in, misses, and Coleman comes away. 3-on-3. Jackson Wilson, what a feed.
That's a great play and a great athleticism, and that's that versatility we talked about with Jermaine Jackson Wilson.
Colorado within 4. Kavaliauskas, great drop step. I mean, a terrific drop step.
He went right around Jackson Wilson. Jamil only has one foul, so it's not as if he couldn't have moved his feet and gotten on him a little bit and forced a tougher shot.
Speaking of forcing tougher shots, that was a force by Roby. Acie Law gives it up.
Boy, Acie Law, we haven't seen much from him. You know, we talked about him so much in the open.
It'll stay with the Aggies.
The Aggies may want to go at King Stockton, number 32. Number 32 has 3 fouls. Jeremy Williams has 3 fouls. Sean Colwell has 2 fouls. That foul trouble on the inside with the 4 and the 5 player, the power forward in the center.
Billy Gillespie, very quickly, Coach, had a problem. He had 2 players go to the bench and only 1 came on. I don't know if you want to play 4-on-5. So Marlon Pompey, somebody said, and Marlon, you got to get in the game.
Yeah, I know they work hard, but I don't know about if they can cover 5 players with 4. That's covering a lot of ground pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Kavaliauskas 1-on-1 against King Stockton. King Stockton, I'm sure, has been told, you can't pick up that 4th early in the second half.
Here's Coleman.
Coleman's had a great floor game tonight. He has really gotten the ball down the floor quickly.
That's a reach-in on Sloan.
You know what makes Coleman so good? He's such a great rebounder for a point guard. And when you have a rebounding point guard, comes off the glass and gets it down the floor so quickly, that's tough on your transition defense.
One of the great point guards over the last 20 years in the NBA is Jason Kidd. Sometimes it's a one-man fast break. He pulls the rebound down and he goes. And you see Coleman sometimes in the college game. I'm not comparing Coleman to Jason Kidd.
Well, he's that sort of player, and what it does when you have a great defensive team, you can't get your defense set up. So I don't care how good it is, if Dominique Coleman gets the ball down before your defense is there, well, that nullifies how great, all the teaching that goes on to make a great defense.
2 minutes in, 44-38 Aggies. Up 6 at halftime, they're up 6 now.
Colorado seems a little lost without Roby on the floor. Well, there's a good shot.
For 3, and the 20-footer goes 22 feet. Silas turns, and he throws up an air ball. King Stockton, good work down low.
Fans are really seeing something out of King Stockton this afternoon at the Coors Events and Conference Center. He's pumped to play, and he's matching up, toe-to-toe with Kavaliauskas.
Acie Law, the leaner. Here's Coleman running with Silas and Thorne. Coleman gives it up late, and the layup is good by Silas. It's a 2-point game.
Just how you draw it up. 3-on-1, through the defense, and gives the ball off. Unselfish play. Back inside to Kavaliauskas again. King Stockton's going to have to play. I don't know about playing behind Kavaliauskas. Get in front of him and don't let the ball go on the inside. I think the coaching staff ought to switch it up on the inside. See how Kavaliauskas is. He's in front of King Stockton. He's not letting the ball inside.
Yeah, he's denying the post pass. That's a travel. Jamil Jackson Wilson got going a little early.
Jeremy Williams back in the Buffalo.
And Jeremy Williams will come on. Jackson Wilson goes out.
Jones, number 30, and for the Aggies.
Carter and Jones come back in for the Texas Aggies.
Both these teams, you see a lot of hands on the hips. They come back. They may have had a little Christmas break. They come back. They're really working hard. They're winded.
Well, Thorne reaches in on his cousin, Acie Law. We haven't mentioned that. Thorne and Law are cousins.
Both from the Dallas area. Now how about this with Acie Law? Ernie Banks is his great uncle, as is Ernie Banks is Dwight Thorne's great uncle. So when Billy Gillespie and Acie Law are going through the transition phase of a more disciplined preseason workout, Acie Law brings a baseball signed by Ernie Banks to Billy Gillespie. How's that for a little? That's not bad schmoozing.
That's pretty good.
I don't know if it got him any more minutes, but I think it was preseason.
May not have. I'm sure Billy appreciated it. Jones walk.
Traveling violation indicating the Aggies Colorado ball.
What a classy and great player, obviously. Ernie Banks.
One of the all-time greats.
Yep.
Yeah.
48-42, the Aggies by 6.
The Buffalo's offense has sputtered a little bit. They set a little screen here for Silas.
Boy, Coleman explodes to the basket. Left-handed layup is good.
Boy, Coleman's speed and quickness against a pressure man-to-man defense. If you have a slasher like Coleman, it's going to break defense down. He's been able to get to the paint and get some open shots not only for himself but for his teammates. But this is the bread and butter in the second half. Kavaliauskas, they've gone into on the left block. He's gotten the ball at least 3 times in the first 4 minutes.
That's on Williams. That is number 4 on Jeremy Williams. So the inside players in foul trouble for the University of Colorado. 4-point game.
The Colorado Buffaloes continue Big 12 Conference play at the Coors Event Center against the Iowa State Cyclones Wednesday, January 17th at 7 o'clock. Wear your best beach-themed outfit and you could win $75 from Island's Fine Burgers and Drinks. Tickets for this exciting Big 12 Conference game can be purchased at $303.49. CUBuffs.com or at King Soopers. Colorado Buffaloes, your team.
Dennis here from C&D Scrap Metal, official sponsor of your Houston Rockets.
We still sell our metal to C&D.
How about y'all?
I'm going to pay you for your aluminum. I'm going to pay you for your stainless. I'm going to pay you for your copper. All your scrap metal here at C&D.
Your scrap is cash at C&D Scrap Metal.
Helping Houston recycle since 1979.
We pay top dollar, so why not come and get cash for all your scrap?
We're going to pay you $2 bills.
Call 713-862-5588.
It's hanging out with the guys. Come on, y'all. Let's go.
Hey, guys.
It's the entertainment. It's a home court advantage.
Come to Toyota Center for the next Guys Night Out presented by the Houston Chronicle. Wednesday, January 17th. Get 2 tickets, 2 hot dogs, 2 beers or sodas, and 2 t-shirts, all starting at only $52. Call 713-627-DUN or log on to Rockets.com.
Aggies 8th ranked in the country, but they're getting all they want right now in Boulder from the Buffaloes. It's 48-44 with Seal Barry on Drew Goodman. For those of you watching in the Rocky Mountain region, after our game in Boulder, you can relive one of this year's college football great matchups. The national championship game, Florida and Ohio State. That's tonight after the game, only on FSN Rocky Mountain. That turned into quite a surprise. For you Buckeye fans.
Yeah, how about a coach coming in and making a difference in our program, and Urban Meyer, what he's done in Florida, and these turnarounds that have been so quick. We've talked about Gillespie, Urban Meyer. We're hoping for the same thing in Boulder with Dan Hawkins.
And the free throw too strong from Kavaliauskas. He's 1 of 3 from the line.
It's a big guy is going to get to the free throw line a lot. They spend a lot of time down on the block, getting hacked, getting fouled, and they're going to go to the free throw line, particularly with a young defender. If Kowal's guarding him or Jeremy Williams guarding him, he's going to go. Jeremy Williams has 4 fouls now. He won't be guarding him too much in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Look at Jones battling on the inside against King Stockton. One of the big differences, Drew, I see, is how the post defense is being played. Texas A&M is not electing to play behind. They're coming around full denial, not letting the ball go down in the post. Colorado, on the other hand, is playing behind and letting the ball go inside.
And when the Aggies need a basket or to get their offense started, they throw the ball into Kavaliauskas.
Oh, there's no question. And it's easy to get it into him. And he can position. He's had a pretty high percentage shots down there. He just hasn't scored much from the free throw line.
Silas, good-looking shot. Wouldn't stay. Strong rebound by Jones.
Boy, Jones has great hands, doesn't he? He's got soft hands. Goes up, snatches it out in midair. See, back down to Kavaliauskas. Fake middle.
Tap to Thorne. Ahead of the field, Coleman, he's a jet. Oh, man.
That's another way to get the ball in the paint. Come off the board and throw it over the top. I think the transition offense of Colorado has surprised A&M just a little bit. I thought we might have had a 3-second call on number 30, Joseph Jones.
30 seconds,
Kavaliauskas misses the bucket. They go over the top. Coleman has really outplayed Acie Law this game, I think. I mean, you've got Dominique Coleman has close to 10 rebounds from the point guard position. There he is, takes the ball to the bucket.
And you know what? If Marcus King-Stockton is deflected before it got to him, but if he makes that catch, it's an easy two. It's a one-point game.
Right. And he's looking at, he almost could have taken the ball up himself, but I think he was trying to be unselfish and get the ball to King-Stockton.
Tell you what, Coach, I think the last 4 or 5 minutes, Coleman the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Jones too strong with the right-handed hook. Here's Coleman again. He's double figures in rebounds. Down the lane.
He's going himself. He's taking it himself.
I mean, he has taken this basketball game over. No Richard Roby out there. He's been on the bench the last few minutes. It has been all Dominique Coleman, the former junior college All-American.
He's slashed against the half-court man-to-man, and in transition, the A&M defense has not been able to get the ball stopped. When he does stop the ball, if he'd have a little help from Dwight Thorne and Xavier Silas in hitting the three, he could control the rest of the second half. It's 10 boards for Coleman. 4 assists, maybe 5 had King-Stockton, got a hold of that last one.
And Dominique has a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds. The boards ties a career high for Coleman. It is a one-point game, and the fans here in Boulder are intrigued by what is transpiring. Jones, he gets doubled. Now let's see which way it goes. If it's on King-Stockton, it's 4. Jamil Jackson-Wilson naturally throwing his hand up in the air because he has only 1 foul.
Yeah, Colorado does not want King-Stockton on the bench. He has been the factor. Yeah, he may have gotten him on the elbow. But I think they're going after Jackson-Wilson. He's asking for it.
And he got the foul, so it's his second.
Well, we talked about free throws as being key, and Jones clearly has been at the free throw line tonight.
And he's got a double-double also, 12 points, check at 13 now, and 13 rebounds.
That's his 9th free throw. He's gone 7 for 9 from the free throw line.
Coach, what a bonus to have an inside player who's so physical, who makes all his free throws.
Right, and I saw a few clips of him just in getting ready for the game, and he could shoot it off the dribble from 17 feet out. He likes to go left. He's a great player. Some real good talent tonight on the floor.
Jones listed at 6'9". Very good student also.
All these Aggies. I was talking to Billy Gillespie. He said, my team did not miss one class this semester.
How about that?
He said the Aggie academic area has class checkers. They go down. He said his program, his team. Now, not many coaches can brag about that. Not one player, particularly when you have 21 players on your roster. That's that many more classes.
Practice is never a problem with that many. I have never heard of, honestly, a program that had that many.
I asked one of the coaches, why would you want 21? And I think it's just a matter of style on practice when you're playing that hard. giving kids an opportunity. All these kids are from Texas, and Billy Gillespie is well known in Texas high school circles. He's a great coach. He coached at Copper's Cove. He coached at Killeen, Texas. He coached at New Braunfels. He's well known in the TABC, the Texas Basketball Coaches Association.
Jackson Wilson lost it. And there's Jones to grab the basketball again. Sloan ahead to Acie Law.
That's good help by Richard Roby to stop Law. He just stuck a hand in there and got him stopped. There's a big defensive possession right here.
That's a good-looking move. You know, he's got two in the low block. The turnover's left shoulder with the hook, and he drop steps also. He's got some quickness.
I betcha when Kavaliauskas is not working on defense in practice, that he is down on the block with one of the coaches over and over and over, repetition after repetition. He's got some moves. Look at him. Fakes baseline, up and over, nice little baby jump hook, the Kevin McHale look. He's a workhorse.
And with you, I know all coaches with the big men, they look at their feet. He's got good feet.
No, absolutely. Good hands. You've got to be able to run the floor, and hopefully you can hit some free throws. But those things, that's up to the coach.
Foul from behind on Kavaliauskas.
Kavaliauskas thought he's looking over at his bench, and he said, I got all ball on that, coach. But, this is a guy, he was not in the starting lineup last year. Pompey was in the starting lineup. But, look, he looks as if I thought that was all ball coming from behind. He thought it, I thought it. Of course, we get to look at it twice.
Yeah, he had a point. That's Jamil Jackson Wilson, a chance to make it a three-point game.
I would not want to have Colorado in the ball game under 10 minutes. So this next 2.5 minutes for Colorado to keep hanging around. If Dominique Coleman continues to play as he's played and Roby comes back in the game right here. But when you're at home 10 minutes and Colorado's the underdog here, then they start thinking upset.
Good free throws, Jackson Wilson with 10 in the game. And it should be noted that Colorado, each of the last 4 years, has knocked off at least one ranked opponent here in Boulder.
Well, you mentioned it early. You can say what you will about Ricardo Patton, but his team will play hard. So in terms of intensity and toughness, now look at Kowal on the inside. He's battling he's coming around Jones. He's not content to stay behind.
And they double there, 12 to shoot it. Not a good shot.
Great defensive possession by the Buffaloes, and here comes Coleman. Boy, is he confident tonight.
Roby gives it up. Kowal from the elbow, knocks it down.
See, now the crowd's going to get in the ball game. We've got a one-point game in here. Now let's watch post defense. Sean Kowal. He's got Joseph Jones. He's going to guard him at high post. Williams is looking at Kavaliauskas. The foul on Kowal. We got a blocking foul. That's a freshman unsure how to guard a senior.
53-52 after the jumper from Sean Kowal.
I looked at 4 schools.
5 schools. Small schools. East Coast.
West Coast. Ivy League.
Performing arts. But I found myself.
Found myself. Found myself at Baylor.
I found small classes, world-class facilities,
and a community of faith
where 14,000 students from all 50 states
and 70 countries make friends.
Get involved and make a difference.
What about you? What will you find?
Everybody buys their cars at the same prices. Some people can sell them cheaper than others. We can do that. I don't have any overhead out here. I got sales guys that love selling cars. I love selling cars. I mean, price is important. There's no doubt about it. Everybody's concerned about price. We will always be cheaper. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
If you love the lullabies of old Broadway, then you're in good company. The Theater Company. The Theater Company presents Broadway's Best, featuring classics old and new from shows like My Fair Lady, Oklahoma, Guys and Dolls, Evita, Chicago, and many more. Don't miss Broadway's Best, January 12th through 14th. Tickets just $15 each, on sale at the Arts Council and at the Theater Company. Call 779-1302 for more information. Get your tickets now for Broadway's Best.
about this? On this day, 6 years ago, Colorado defeated the Aggies by 30. 5 players in double figures, most lopsided conference victory for Colorado in 32 years. That was a different Texas Aggie team. This is one of the finest units in college basketball.
But you wouldn't know it tonight, the way Dominique Coleman is playing. Coleman has been I think, almost the marquee player on the floor, other than Joseph Jones. Jones has been out there with 14 boards.
Kirk being harassed right now by Silas. Let's see how Texas A&M responds. Kavaliauskas maybe a little bit out of his range. Silas just did save it.
Great effort. Boy, there's some new energy by the Buffaloes right now.
The bump on Williams. Coleman, it doesn't even matter right now if the Aggies are back on defense. Coleman runs past him.
Somebody has lit a fire under Coleman, because I have not seen a lot of this. Great save by Xavier Silas right here. Coleman picks it up.
Jeremy Williams in the bridge line for the Bucks, shooting 2.
You know what, there were times last year, actually most of the time last year, where I don't feel like Coleman was comfortable being a lead guard. He just seemed more comfortable as a 2 guard. Would you agree with that?
I'd agree 100%, but last year Marcus Hall was clearly the leader of the team, and Coleman as an off guard, yeah, you're exactly right. You know, it's almost as Coleman needs the ball in his hands, and I tell you what, he stymied the Aggie defense. The Aggie defense does not know what to do. They cannot get back. And Coleman's playing with great energy, great enthusiasm.
Infectious enthusiasm. Foul is on Coleman there.
Well, you and I have watched Colorado enough to know that Richard Roby loves playing with Coleman, and I would too. I mean, he can pass the ball. He draws at least 2 defenders every time he gets the ball across half court in transition. In the half court sets, maybe not as effective.
Silas, Kowal go out. Here's a strong drive and a pretty move there by Acie Law.
Well, when you have a left-hander and you clear, there was an overload on the right-hand side of the floor. There's no help. Dwight Thorne rotated in.
And this is where Billy Gillespie needs Acie Law. He did it against Baylor on the road. He's had a forgettable game up to this point. 11:23 to go. Much tighter than anybody expected. This is where you want your senior, who's a very gifted player in Acie Law, to take over.
I agree, Drew. I'm curious as to why Gillespie hasn't played Law tonight, and maybe he just wants to rest him a little bit for the last 10 minutes down the stretch, last 12 minutes, because he clearly has his legs at this point. You know, he may have his legs, but Coleman has his momentum right now. Coleman is into this ball game.
Loose ball, and Coleman in the neighborhood, and it will be Colorado basketball. He's
Coleman
everywhere.
In his enthusiasm, he punched the air, and he almost turned around and punched his head coach. He was that close.
Not advisable.
No, not advisable. He's having too good of a game. We don't want him out.
Plus, his head coach is a 6th-degree black belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to set up Dwight Thorne. A great screen and roll by Jermaine Jackson.
Colorado will get free throws.
Jermaine Jackson Wilson, you'll see him. He sets the screen for Dwight Thorne. Dwight Thorne, and the defense rotates out, and he's wide open. Nobody picked him up. Kavaliauskas fell asleep.
That's 4 on Kavaliauskas.
You know, a lot of times the defender knows he fell asleep. He knows he's out of position, and he tries to make up for it. Too late, and he gets called for the foul.
Pompey will come in. Jackson Wilson almost threw up an air ball. He had not missed a free throw tonight. He was 6 of 6.
For Colorado, you know, at this point, you have a 2-point ball game. Every possession counts, and that includes the free throw line. Coleman has really instilled some confidence in his teammates. There's been a couple of stretches where Colorado has been, you know, maybe not as energetic, but you can see him talking. He's talking to everybody. Let's go.
King Stockton out on the floor. Roby, Silas, Thorne, and Coleman for Colorado.
That's a nice lineup for Colorado. Good speed. They've maintained the man-to-man defense the entire game and been fairly successful.
Here's Lee just checked in. King Stockton trying to front Jones. They wanted to get him the ball in the low block. They could not. Kirk beats Pompey.
I think that's a good move by trying to front Jones. Pompey, they're playing behind.
That's on Roby. Little bit of a push.
Well, no foul trouble for Roby. That's, other than the fact it gives him a fresh 35. First foul for Roby. Not too big of a threat other than they will go to the free throw line. These guys are so quick. They're so hard to guard one-on-one. You really need a helping. It's almost a hybrid type defense, a man-to-man with a little bit of help from your teammates.
So Dominique Kirk at the line. I remember the game. I saw it against Syracuse, the opening round of the NCAAs last year. He held Jerry McNamara to 2 points. The great guard for Syracuse. 3-ball Silas, way off.
That's what we talked about. Dominique Coleman will draw 2 to 3 Aggies. And he draws the Aggies, and then he kicks it out to Xavier Silas. I'm not so sure Xavier Silas was really ready for the pass, do you think?
Well, based on the shot, probably not. Unless the basket moves. Does it ever do that?
I haven't seen it. Not lately.
55-54 Aggies. 5 to shoot it. Good look for Coleman. And a rebound of Roby on the weak side. Roby soft off the glass, no go.
Oh, it's a great follow attempt by Roby. He had a great offensive rebound. Looks as if the big guys are dragging for the Aggies. Look at Jones and Pompey. They're not running with the same spring in their step.
This is the guy I'd find. Remember the great run in the middle of the first half by Texas A&M. The guy in the middle of it was Joseph Jones. Acie Law knows that, and he went to him on the low block. 3-point opportunity for Jones, the junior.
Well, you can see there's an opportunity really for Colorado to come down and double by Richard Roby in the middle, and he stays hard on Pompey.
That's 4 on King Stockton. 4 on Jeremy Williams also. And a rare miss from the line by Jones.
Well, when you're short like that, you hit the front of the rim. It could be not enough legs. And we're talking about the last 10 minutes of the half after this team played away in Waco and now away in Boulder in the same week. That's tough on anything.
Backdoor cut. Coleman from Thorne.
Whoa, what? That's tremendous off-ball movement. Drew, I'm going to say it again. The last 2 down the floor are the big guys. Joseph Jones has worked hard tonight, and I tell you what, if Colorado, if Kowal comes in, if somebody can be physical with him, he looks tired.
And the layup miss. King Stockton had to back off. Here's Coleman to Roby. Roby could have given Colorado the lead. Jones with yet another rebound. He's got 14 of those.
He has been, look at it. He needs to blow in the worst way. He's afraid to look over to Gillespie. Gillespie's saying, come on, hang in there, buddy.
Billy looks the other direction.
Yeah, he said, I could bring Martellus Bennett back in for just a split second, but this is the guy who's only had 1 or 2 practices. He gets the ball down there, he gets some energy. Oh, great. How about that move?
A gorgeous move, but where'd the energy come from?
Well, you know what? Shooting the ball doesn't take as much energy as running. At least that's what he's thinking.
He showed some pretty good quicks. So Jones keeps the separation at 3 for the Aggies. 18 points, 14 rebounds for Jones.
Buff fans, the Colorado women's basketball team is back at the Coors Event Center on Saturday, January 20th at 7 o'clock. Jackie McFarland, Jasmina Illick, and the rest of the Buffs will look to stop National Player of the Year candidate Courtney Paris and the top 10 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Tickets for this exciting Big 12 contest can be purchased at cubuffs.com, 303-49 or at Tickets West, located in superstores. Colorado Buffaloes, your team.
This is Ford country. And just like our vehicles are #1 in Texas, Texans are #1 with us. And from football games to rodeos, horse races to state fairs. We're proud to be affiliated with organizations that make life here a heck of a lot of fun. And right now, you can save a heck of a lot of money on a 2007 F-150 Texas Edition Super Cab, with payments starting from only $249 a month. Ford is the best in Texas.
Hello, everyone. I'm Selena Ray, inviting you to the NHL All-Star Race and Roll. As a part of the 2007 NHL All-Star Week, the Dallas Stars want you to walk, run, or roll through the streets of Dallas. Saturday, January 20th marks the first NHL All-Star Race and Roll. It's a 5K run or walk and a 10K inline skate. Show the All-Stars your moves while helping out the Dallas Stars Foundation. Visit DallasStars.com to register for the NHL All-Star Race and Roll.
Can't you tell how excited that young man is? Been a great ball game. 59-56. The Aggies 8th ranked in America, getting all they want from the University of Colorado tonight. A team that comes in at 4-8, 0-2 in the conference. Here's Jones. Buckets made, and then a 30-second timeout was called. And it turned into a full timeout for Colorado. And Jones was the happiest guy in Boulder about that timeout.
Yeah, you wonder why when they get the ball, they've got renewed energy. I used to ask that for my players. You know, you can't make it down the floor, but boy, when the ball comes, all of a sudden you got a second wind. You get automatic reinforcement, though, when the ball goes in the basket.
Donald Sloan covering Thorne. Kavaliauskas with 4 fouls. Here's Roby. Good defense by Kirk. You can say that all night long, all year long.
Yeah, I agree with you, Drew. Kirk has really, he hasn't let Richard have a lot of free looks.
Boy, he'll lock you down.
So the Aggies are going with Kavaliauskas, both their posts at high post, and taking Dwight Thorne one-on-one to the bucket. And when you get Acie Law being left-handed, you know, those are the 2 layups that he went against Baylor late in the game. That was on the left side of the floor where he's got that hesitation move. They can leave both the post players up at the fouling area, clear out the whole basket area, and let Acie Law go one-on-one.
AC, quiet night.
Quiet night, but I would say what has contributed to that is Coach had given him a lot of minutes tonight. Now, 8 minutes and 10 seconds down the stretch, I bet we see a lot more of him as opposed to Sloan, a freshman on the road, Big 12. I'd say he'd go with his veteran.
Well, Sloan getting a lot of floor time. He's out there right now. Law was 7. He's had 7 games this year with more than 20. And he hits his free throws.
Full court pressure. No trap. No, with Coleman, you can't trap. He gets the ball up the floor so quick.
Good look.
He's gotten away with the travel there.
A lot of contact. Jackson Wilson didn't get the call. Now Colorado inside 8 minutes has to dig in. The lead at 5 for the Aggies.
You see Dominique Kirk, number 22. I saw him look up at the clock. How many more minutes we have? These guys are not used to, great shot off the dribble.
Who we talked about taking the game over late. Acie Law with a triple.
Tough shot.
Roby. And a follow dunk thrown down by Jamil Jackson Wilson.
A lot to be reckoned with, the speed and quickness of Colorado. Because Roby's so good with the ball, Coleman's so quick with the ball and off the ball, Jamil Jackson Wilson anticipates so well.
64-58. Good looking move by Roby. Watch Jamil Jackson Wilson right down the lane.
Well, the vaunted Aggie defense is standing around a little bit, and there's 2 players on Colorado, Roby and Coleman, that can draw 2 defensively. And when that happens, that means somebody's not blacking out. You're short a guy. So, you know, Coleman's done it all night long, and particularly in the second half. Now, last 2 possessions, the Aggies have put their post players up at the 3-point line area and let Acie Law go one-on-one from the left side. So it'll be interesting. What is the coach going to come up with coming out of the timeout? Both teams have stayed in the man-to-man, so that's the only playbook they're going to. Six-point
lead, 7:22 left. Kirk and Law in the backcourt. Kavaliauskas in the front court with Jones, and that's taken away by Dominique Coleman. Three-guard lineup with Sloan out there for Billy Gillespie.
Well, Dominique Coleman was on Acie Law, and he stole the pass that was intended for Jones. A lot of dribbling in the Colorado offense. It's tough to see the open guy when you've got the ball on the floor.
And Coleman, before he made the fancy layup, there was a foul against the Aggies. No.
It might be. It looks like a timeout.
No, it was on Acie Law and then a timeout. Okay, foul on Acie Law and then a timeout. We'll step aside. 6-point lead for Texas A&M.
Are our SUVs as much fun as our bikes?
You think you can handle it?
Can you?
Introducing the all-new Suzuki XL7 SUV. It's going to be a great ride. Get 0% financing on XL7 with no payments till April 07. Offer ends January 31st.
Geico Motorcycle Insurance. Serious protection for serious riders. Geico. One call could save you money on your motorcycle insurance, too. Let's ride. Whether you're a casual rider or a hardcore biker, Geico Motorcycle Insurance has you covered. No wonder thousands of riders are switching to Geico each week. Geico. One call could save you money on your motorcycle insurance, too. Let's ride.
It's game on for the Spurs on FSN Southwest. As they hit the road for a battle in the Windy City. The Spurs come packed with a healthy Tim Duncan and sporting a well-respected road record. And with the Bulls trying to revive Kirk Henrich, watch for Ben Gordon to fall in to pick up the slack. Spurs, Bulls, Monday afternoon on FSN Southwest.
64-58. Drew Goodman along with Seal Barry from Boulder. ACC Sunday Night Hoops presented by Pizza Hut returns this week as the 11th-ranked Duke Blue Devils take on the Miami Hurricanes. Coverage begins with the college basketball tip-off show Sunday at 5, 2 p.m. out west right here on FSN. Well, Coach Barry, for Colorado down by 6 to pull an upset. Inside 7 minutes to play, what has to happen?
Well, they need to keep their bigs on the floor, I think. King Stockton, Jeremy Williams, those guys both have 4 fouls. And when you've got Joseph Jones with 2 fouls, 18 points, 14 boards, he's clearly been the dominant post player. King Stockton goes out. He goes out with 5 fouls. It's going to be tough for Colorado. Kowal just doesn't have the same experience level.
Double bonus for Colorado, 19 fouls on the Buffaloes. And Coleman goes 1 of 2. 5-point game, 64-59.
You know, we have yet to mention the fans. And if the Coors Events Center fans begin to get into this ball game, they're 1 3-pointer away from really getting up and making a difference in this ball game. Because, frankly, the altitude has made a big difference. See, there they're going right inside. Going inside, and there's not that hesitancy to really play aggressive defensively.
Silas, 22-footer.
Maybe not the shot you want in that situation. Maybe you want to. Gillespie tells Lee to hold the ball up. They're going to hold the ball up so they can go in at King Stockton.
Now Kavaliauskas with a bad entry angle, and that's a turnover.
Jones is really struggling with the altitude. He really is. He looks as if his legs are cramping. He's ginger, I should say, getting up and down the floor.
30-second timeout called by Ricardo Patton, 66-59.
You know, Gillespie is in his 3rd year. This is his 2nd trip to Boulder. He may not be as in tune to how difficult it is for visiting teams to come in here, particularly after playing a tough game at Waco the other night, being on the road. You're on the road Tuesday, you're on the road Wednesday, you're on the road Friday, Saturday. These guys get tired. You know, you may be able to play 38 minutes when you're at home. But the travel, the altitude, flying, all of it, it starts to wear on a kid.
Energy-wise, how are your kids? Were they better midweek when class was in session, or were they better on the weekend?
Well, with the Big 12 schedule, you're going Wednesday, Saturday. Typically, your off day is Sunday. So they're better energy-wise on the Wednesday game. You know, sometimes the coaches fail, particularly if you're not used to all the flying. Up 40,000 feet for 3 hours in the air. It'll take a lot out of you.
Coleman trying to do it himself, and he turns the basketball over.
The big defensive play, you know, that A&M got away without a reaching foul. You know, they're going to set it up. Have you noticed they've slowed the ball down? They're going to use the shot clock a little bit. They're trying to rest number 30, Joseph Jones, rest Kavaliauskas a little bit, shorten the game.
I really like this kid, speaking of true freshman, Donald Sloan. He's going to be a nice player.
He has. I was wondering if he was going to pull up there. He's more going to take the ball to the basket. Nice touch. Very nice touch.
First basket of the night.
Keeps developing, he'll pull up and take the three because they were going to give it to him. So we see a zone.
Coleman misses. Kavaliauskas a big rebound.
Boy, as Joseph Jones is worn out a little bit, Bear on the boards the last couple of possessions. A little spread out. I wouldn't say this is exactly Dean Smith, but with a 9-point lead. And you see the ref calling for the closely guarded rule. But they've just been a spread offense, letting Sloan go.
That's the 10th team foul on Colorado. 2 free throws coming.
It might be an opportunity right here.
It's on Thorne.
For Colorado to switch up the defense and go zone. You see how spread out they are. They're just spreading out the offense and letting the freshmen. Interesting, because Gillespie has let Acie Law go one-on-one late in the game, and he's letting Sloan go. He needs his big guys in there. He needs Jones and Kavaliauskas in there for the defensive boards. If Colorado continues to put up the shot from outside, there's going to be some big, long rebounds, and he wants those big guys in there to clean up on the defensive end. Here's the freshman, 4 consecutive points at a key time on the road.
Acie Law not on the floor. 11-point lead for the Aggies, and then Colorado turns it over again.
We have some key possessions here. You know, I'm curious as to why Dwight Thorne's at the point and Coleman's on the wing as opposed to Coleman being at the point. Coleman's had such a great game with the ball in his hand.
That's where Colorado's been most effective.
Well, they haven't been able to stop Dominique.
That may turn out the lights on Colorado. Josh Carter, who's one of the best shooters west of the Mississippi, knocks down yet another triple, his 4th of the game. Thorne trying to answer, cannot. King Stockton, offensive rebound. And the Aggies have it, leading by 14 inside, 3:50 to play.
Well, you'd like to see at least King Stockton touch the ball in the inside. Doesn't necessarily mean he has to shoot the ball on the inside, but as A&M's come down and scored 3 consecutive possessions.
They haven't missed a shot in 6 minutes. How about that? It's Carter again. He's hit 8 triples in a game twice this year. He's got 5 tonight. And the Aggies have pulled away. They're up 17.
Well, they've left him open in an effort to double team. Josh Carter has really put the icing on the cake, trying to put the lid on for Colorado.
Does that count? Roby missed. King Stockton put it back. The basket is good.
That's good.
3-point opportunity for King Stockton when we come back, but Texas A&M leads it by 15.
College football fans, here's your chance to be a part of the BCS. Go online to get the official merchandise from the Rose Bowl game presented by Citi, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, the FedEx Orange Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, and the Tostitos BCS National Championship. Own a part of college football history. Go to bcsfootball.org and order today.
everyone, and welcome to another edition of Houston Sports Beat, the fastest 30 minutes in Houston sports television. I'm your host, Greg Lucas, and let me introduce the panel that will be discussing the weighty stories of the week. To my immediate right, from the Houston Chronicle, Jesus Ortiz, baseball expert. Good to have you back.
Thank you.
To his right, John Granado, Sports Radio 610, everything expert. He, of course, also works the sidelines for the Texans. You see him on FSN occasionally, on post-game shows, Channel 51. Good to have you back, too.
Thanks.
And Jonathan Fagan, who is Mr. Basketball, also from the Houston Chronicle, the man who is covering the Houston Rockets and their interesting season so far. And I want to start the conversation with you about the Rockets because it's a club that has really played well shorthanded, mainly without Yao Ming. Tracy McGrady has just taken over.
Yeah, it's not complicated. Yao Ming goes out, Tracy McGrady comes back the very next game, struggles for a couple games with his shooting, but has taken off since. But the other two guys who are also playing a great deal more since Yao Ming went out, Dikembe Mutombo, double-figure rebounds every night. The first time he's had a streak like that since he's with the Sixers in 2000, 2001. And Juwan Howard moves into the starting lineup and extremely well. He makes an adjustment in his shot. He's shooting very well. He's playing hard. He's chewing up all kinds of minutes. And so, obviously, McGrady's driving the offense. He's drawing double teams. He's creating things just by being there and changing defenses. But the other guys who are playing more have played very well.
Are you at all worried about Rafer Alston? Because, you know, I like when John Lucas comes in the game, the energy that he brings and how the chemistry seems to change.
Well, John brings tempo, and that's good. It picks things up, and he's such a confident offensive player. You know, Jeff said the other day in Chicago now
has been terrific with the ball in his hands.
He's much better. We talked about last year when Marcus Hall was at the point. Coleman wasn't as effective on the wing. He's the kind of guy with his vision. Put him in the center of the floor, let him go, let him draw another maroon jersey, and he's going to find an open shooter. You know, I'd want the ball in his hands 90% of the time he's on the floor. Now on the defensive end, you know, he let Acie Law get around him. Maybe didn't want to pick him up quite as tight out there near the logo.
Tell you one thing that's in jeopardy for the Aggies. They've given up 63 points tonight. They're the only team in the country not to give up more than 65, and there's 2:27 left.
Okay, now let's see if they know that, if they realize it, if they're working for it. I guarantee the coaching staff knows it for the Aggies, but they've yet to give up 65. Buffalo's at 63. That's tough to do. Oh, a little press. So 1-2-2 zone press. They're working to keep that record of theirs intact. Proud of it.
Yeah.
Keep them under 65.
Yeah, looking how they're digging in defensively, no question. Well, there's 65 as Richard Roby hits. 11 points for Roby. That's his first field goal in the second half. And that's Dominique Kirk for the most part.
Absolutely. He hasn't had his hands on the ball much.
Law right down the lane again. Acie Law on what most probably would describe, who watch Acie Law play, an off night. Would you agree?
I think he was. The foul trouble has bothered him. He hasn't really seemed to be as into the game as Dominique Coleman has been into the game. But last two times, right down the middle, almost untouched.
And he has 17 points.
Yeah, that is, I agree with you. A quiet 17. But you've got four kids on the floor right now, double figures for A&M.
Acie Law and the Aggies lead at 82-65.
You know, the Buffaloes stay with them. They stay with them. They stay with them. You have a ball game, probably for, as you mentioned, 35 minutes of the game. But it's key possession, back-to-back possessions, where you miss a bucket and a defensive lapse that turns into a 4-point swing. But I tell you what, this Colorado team has some talent. Jeremy Williams has shown what he can do. Xavier Silas has some talent. We haven't seen Cal Babe much at all this evening, but the freshman class has got some talent. It's a matter of putting it together in a consistent 40-minute effort to come away with a win.
Yeah, tonight Coach Patton has played Dwight Thorne ahead of Cal Babe. Most of this year it's been Cal Babe. at the point?
Well, Cal Bay is probably the best pure shooter on the team. I mean, he leads the team in three-pointers with 23, as we mentioned. And Thorne may give more effort. That may be what Coach Patton's looking for, the extra effort. So you see Thorne at the 2-guard spot, Coleman at the point guard spot, Silas at the 3, and Richard Roby playing the post.
Silas uses the body.
You have Dwight Thorne, Xavier Silas. Both of them are Texas high school products. Austin area, Dallas area. They know these guys. This is a little bit of pride for them. They're going to go home in the summer and see them, and there'll be a little discussion about this game.
Here's the drive. I'm laughing a little bit because as teams do now, they'll often huddle right around the free throw line before a huddle. So you had 5 Buffaloes in there, and Antanas Kavaliauskas decided he would join the huddle also, and everybody had a little laugh out on the floor.
He complete ignorance, I guess. Well, this will be the point, the opportunity, I should say, to break the 65-point barrier. Silas will get 2 opportunities here to break that 65-point barrier that Texas A&M has held so dear.
Silas tonight 3 of 9 from the floor, and that's his first miss from the line.
The Buff shooting not too bad, 70% from the free throw line.
But you know what, their field goal percentage for the game, 37%. And this year the Aggies have held the opposition to 34% from the floor, which is the best in the nation. And their defense is very consistent every possession.
That is tough to do. That's some great post defense, and you've got to admire the A&M post defense. That's a lot of hard work at practice because big kids like to stand behind. We saw them all night long coming around, working to get around King Stockton and Sean Kowal.
Takes a much greater effort to do that.
Well, most kids, anybody likes it. It's the path of least resistance. The easiest thing. I'd rather run down the floor and stand behind them rather than move your feet and get a hand in the passing lane. You never would have thought, would you, that you'd have a 17-point lead at this point?
No, it's almost misleading for those folks that just look at the paper tomorrow. They'll say, well, that figures. You know, that's probably what was expected. But if you watched it, you know it was a much better game than that.
No, the Buffs battled. They made them work for it. You know, if these two teams see one another in the Big 12 tournament, they're going to know, Texas A&M is going to know that they were in a ball game.
Silas, nice feed. 83-68, inside 1:15 to play. A little too much experience and pretty good talent for the Aggies. Yeah, I was thinking back. Name the most famous basketball player. This is how much of a football school it is. Most famous basketball player ever that played in Aggie land.
Bernard King.
Well, he went to Tennessee.
Oh, he went, not Bernard King. Bernard, who's the guy who played at A&M? Well, Bernard King went to Tennessee. He stumped the panel. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking it was Sonny Parker in the 70s. Went to Texas A&M. There have not been many, at least at the NBA level.
Well, you know, Texas so long, the whole state has been known for football at all their schools, whether it be Texas, Texas a couple of years ago going to the Final Four, Coach Bob Knight at Texas Tech.
It's probably as good as the state has been in Division I basketball in at least recent memory, because now Bob Knight at Texas Tech, University of Texas and Coach Barnes, they've done a great job there. Now with Billy Gillespie and the Aggies, Baylor's on their way back.
Absolutely. It's not easy for the Northern Division in the Big 12 to go into the state of Texas and come away with wins on their home floor. And, I think for the schools in the old Big 8, it's a matter of staying up with in the arms race in terms of facilities and support for basketball. but also to get out and recruit some of the athletes and get some of the great players down in Texas. That's a challenge to go down there and get them.
They face the same challenge the North does in football when you talk about facilities.
Yep. Yeah, the facilities at Texas A&M have been there, in the last 10 years in the Big 12. Athletic director Bill Byrne has done a great job with the Reed Arena. Is one of the greatest places to play, and it makes it tough on Nebraska and Kansas State and Colorado with some of the facilities that they've had in the last 15 years.
Law against his cousin Dwight Thorne. Tend to shoot it, right-handed runner by Acie Law. That was a pretty move.
Maybe Roby could have drawn the charge there, but maybe officials might want to let it go at this point. Roby's still playing.
Yeah.
Jump position to the Aggies.
Well, the Aggies will get it on the alternate possession. They're up 18. They don't have to shoot it. 27 seconds left.
Colorado's still looking for their first Big 12 win. We'll have Iowa State in the Coors Event Center on Wednesday night. We just mentioned that they had a tough overtime loss to Kansas at home.
This is another solid win for the Aggies, and they had to work hard to get it.
They did. 18-point margin of victory as Acie Law dribbles the clock out. But these guys know their respect is there. They know they were in a battle. It was not easy, Steve.
And the two relatives hug at midcourt. Boy, the Aggies most impressive when they needed to be late in that basketball game. And they win it 87-69. And a lot of players played well. 18 points, 15 rebounds for Joseph Jones, and Acie Law ends up with 21 points in the game on 7 of 11 shooting. 19 for Carter as well, 7 of 11.
It's almost as if they took turns. There was Josh Carter, there was Jones, there was Acie Law. What a great team effort.
8th-ranked Aggies roll. That'll do it. For Seal Barry and our entire crew, Drew Goodman saying so.
If you don't...
Every night, there's just one place to be. The best damn sports show, period. Come on in and be our guest for Sports Television's nightly party. The world's greatest late-night sports show is just getting started. The best damn sports show, period. Weeknights on FSN.
The tradition continues as the 13th annual MLK Grand Parade returns Monday, January 15th, down beginning at Texas Avenue and Jackson Street. All of Houston is invited to join in celebrating the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., along with guests from across the nation. The 13th annual MLK Grand Parade, named the best parade in Houston by the Houston Press, is a community affair everyone can be a part of.
Hey, I'm Ethan Zahn, and yours truly will see you weekly on FC Fox. It's your ticket to everything going on in our soccer nation. Hang out with the man on the street. Fine-tune your game with soccer tips from the pros in our conditioning and training segments. Plus, real-life stories from stars of the game. Be sure to watch FC Fox this and every Friday exclusively on Fox Soccer Channel.
Where Houston fans go first. FSN Houston.
Due to the length of the previous program, we now join the following program already in progress on FSN.
Time now for the Chevy Hot Corner, and our Hot Corner topic will be the BCS and the championship, which of course was won by Florida over Ohio State. John Granato, you had it picked that way all the way?
Yeah, I actually had Ohio State and the under.
There you go.
And so I missed on both counts. By halftime, it was over, my two picks. But I learned something about that game. I learned something about the SEC in that game, and it really matters where you're from, who you're playing. You know, I think I go back to Auburn a couple of years ago, and they don't get into the championship game, and Oklahoma gets blown out by USC. This is not a championship. This is not a national championship. It's a BCS championship. You put Florida against Ohio State. If there was a tournament, I think it comes down to two SEC teams. That is the best conference in the country. You look at Boise State. They play a whack schedule, and they have a wonderful season. Don't get me wrong, but they played the conference champion from the Big 12, and I don't know what they proved. I love the story. I love everything that happened, but I'm not going to talk about a playoff because I think that's self-explanatory.
That means Boise State just doesn't enter into this.
No, well, you know what? Boise State might have been one of the best teams, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
You know, and all I know is that you play an SEC schedule week in and week out, and you're going to get beat up. You're going to lose a game. You're going to look bad offensively, like Florida did, and yet you could still be the best team in the country.
It might even make you the better team than you would have been. You did take a loss on the way, but you stepped up in weight class. Then you're able to fight at that weight class.
But everybody who was fighting for Michigan, if you fought for Michigan and Ohio State, which I made the point too, I said, you know what, they only lost to the best team in the country at their place by 3 points. But you're saying that the Big Ten is far and above everybody else, and that Michigan and 2 teams from one conference, the Big Ten, should be there, and we learned that was wrong.
Well, even if you have a tournament, which is what we'll call it, you're not necessarily going to have the best team that wins it. That's